not going to stop.
I know. That's okay. I still love you.
It's okay.
Oh, man. So how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Doing
Good
really
to be
well.
back.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So we took a little pre-recorded
hiatus.
some episodes. Yeah,
Yeah.
took a little hiatus. So we haven't seen each other in a little while.
I know.
What you
the
been
weather,
up to?
the weather was nice in Florida, in case you're wondering.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Good to know. I'm
80 and sunny every day.
awesome.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
But it's nice here now, so that's good. It's positive.
Yeah. Yeah. The weather turned like this last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we do this draft. The Masters was this weekend. And we do this like little mini fantasy league just for the Masters. Everybody drafts 4 golfers. It's
There's 5 of us.
5 of us. Yep. Lowest total score wins. And you'd think there wouldn't be enough rules in there to like make it interesting. But just because every shot matters, like it makes the whole weekend really fun and exciting.
Yeah, like after day 2, I was like, oh, I got this in the bag, you know? And then Cam Smith like goes to +5. Like if he stayed at +1 or +2, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, you would have been
you
fine.
know? But yeah, a lot changes over 4 days, but it makes it like super fun.
Yeah. And then Lowry hit like a +8 the last day or something.
Yeah.
Something wild.
Yeah, he fell apart. Then Rory hung in there. He didn't choke somehow.
Yeah. That was insane.
Yeah. It was fun though. It's fun to do that. We do usually every major,
Yeah.
but this was the Masters is always like the best one.
Yeah.
So it was good to see Rory get his Grand Slam, but man, he almost gave it away there.
He really wanted to.
He loves choking so hard.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
How have you been the last couple weeks?
Good. I started vlogging.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know how to feel about it yet.
Yeah.
Like
How many have you done?
I've done 2. I've posted the second one yesterday. And
So is the goal like once a week?
ish. I don't know. I haven't like said anywhere any commitment to a weekly vlog. Like I've realized a couple things with it. Like it needs a story. Mm-hmm. I can't just be like, here's my day.
Yeah.
You know, like I
Like
need,
you might get views on one of those, but after a while, people are gonna be like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'd get coffee in the morning too, buddy."
Yeah. Right. So I feel like I had a story. Like last week was my single busiest week I've ever had as a home designer, as far as client meetings go. So
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it is. But I felt like that was a good story to follow along to as well, and just my emotions going through it and stuff. But like, I don't know that I have that big of a story or thing to say or do this week, so I'm not really sure if I'm gonna like do one. I feel like I should just keep shooting footage just to see what comes out of it. But yeah, I got to the point where it wasn't too much time overhead either, which was really nice.
So are those easier to film and edit than the normal videos that you do, or is it about the same, or a little bit more work?
There's really no normal for me, which is why it's weird. You know, like there's no.
This video takes 20 minutes to shoot, an hour to edit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's no
exactly.
standard.
Well, I haven't got enough traction in YouTube yet. This is the real reason. I haven't got enough traction in YouTube yet to know what works. So I'm trying a bunch of crap. So there's no normal. I posted an ASMR video this morning. It's 73 minutes of me typing at my keyboard, and I put ambient music over it.
Wow.
So it's just an hour, but it's like just the shot of my keyboard. So you can just see my fingers doing AutoCAD.
That's like very Korean of you.
Thank you. So I'm really just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
I've done vlogging. I've done like instructional videos. One thing that hit me too is I think people are in a slightly different mindset when they're on YouTube than when they're on a place like Instagram or TikTok. Mm-hmm. For Instagram and TikTok, I've gotten a lot of traction with, I think people plan their dream home on those apps. So they have a folder that they have a bunch of saved ideas for their favorite bathrooms and kitchen setups and stuff. And so when I'm giving advice on those or standing in a pretty kitchen, those videos seem to do well. I don't think people use YouTube as a planning space as much. I use YouTube, I think, for 2 main reasons. One, to find something out, whether that's a review on something or an instructional video or something like that, or 2, to be entertained. Yeah. And that's your long form. Those are story videos. That's the Mr. Beast challenge stuff.
And I feel like when you're new to it, you're going to have more success with answering specific questions, because that's how people are going to find you in searches and all that.
Yeah.
You know, so when you get some notoriety and you're going to pop more up on like the main home feed, that's after you've gotten some good exposure. You know?
And I've noticed too, long form takes way longer to get traction than short form. Especially like, I feel like I've got short form on YouTube dialed in.
Yeah, you've had some good success with that.
Maybe not dialed in, but enough where like I posted one last week that got 20,000 views, you know, and got me 30 or 40 subs from it. Like, okay, there's something that's working here, but I'm nowhere near to doing that on a long form video, which is, I don't know. It's been really tricky to figure out.
Yeah, I need to get back in the groove with that, because just being out of town for a couple weeks, definitely like you're just kind of like, well, what's the point? You know? You get kinda, and I know I kind of knew that there would be moments where like I would get bored or lazy with it, you know? So, but I just haven't been around to like shoot the short of the food, and that's kind of my bread and butter, because I have to do that anyways for Facebook.
Yeah.
So, so that kind of keeps me focused when I'm doing that. But if I'm not here and I have no content to put out, I just kind of get, I feel like I got lazy with it. And it's just like, you know, who cares? But I want to get out of that, you know, and get back into the groove. But I feel like it's going to take a week or two.
Yeah.
Just getting back to work and everything.
Content is really hard to produce if you don't have good visuals. Mm-hmm. Whether that's short form or long form. I think some short form works if you don't have a good visual, but visuals help a ton. And like your food stuff is great because it does look really, you shoot it really well, looks good, appetizing.
Yeah.
You know?
But they do say, I've watched videos where they say like you're more relatable if you're shooting on an iPhone, and it's less work and you can get more, you know, exposure that way.
Yeah.
So I just don't like doing that personally. I don't want to waste my time really with that.
Yeah.
But
I have noticed, so this week's topic, we kind of jumped straight into it, but this week's topic is social media marketing. Like, what does a small local business do in 2025 for social media marketing? Does it work? Is it worth it? And so I have noticed, on that note, what did you just say?
I was talking about how I've watched videos where they say if you shoot on your iPhone,
Yes. Okay, so
you're going to get more exposure that way.
for short form, especially Instagram and TikTok, I do feel like people don't want to be advertised to. So there's something to be said for shooting on a lower budget camera like your iPhone or the phone you have in your pocket, and record it. And they get good enough videos anyway where the visuals and lighting can still be really, really good. And yeah, the workflow is so much easier if you shoot on there. And I've noticed, because I've done some where I've paid a videographer and we've done the big cameras and edited some short form stuff together, and that doesn't do as well as the ones shot on a phone.
That's a really good point, that it feels like you're being advertised to. The higher the quality.
Yeah, the more processing, the more editing you put into it.
It's like, okay, what are you trying to sell me?
Yeah. I think, let's start here. I get asked this question all like, where do I start? What do I do? And I would say this is an insane time in humanity that anybody can be found worldwide. Like, never in human history have we been anywhere close to this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the social media companies will be like this for forever, where they let you post for free and distribute for free. So this is a really, really cool time. So literally every single platform is giving away free views. Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, X, YouTube, Instagram, whatever you can think of, Snapchat, they are giving away free views because it's a supply and demand. There are more people consuming, and there probably always will be. More people consuming than there are creating. Mm-hmm. So I can't fathom a business not trying that. You know? Marketing is hard. It costs money. It costs money to print a flyer. But if you post a video, you're going to get free views. Regardless of what your business is, it's stupid to not try it. Mm-hmm. The question I get asked often is, where do I start? And because all these platforms have just so much free opportunity, I would say just start with the one you're most used to. If you're a Facebooker and that's the platform you go to most often on a Monday morning, post stuff there. If you're Instagram or TikTok, I think there are different platforms that do better and worse with different types of content. But I think if you're in the platform, you know what works in the platform, right? If you're the person that goes on Reddit every single day, you know what kind of stuff works on Reddit, and you can just post there.
For sure.
So yeah, I think people get overwhelmed with the amount of choice. Like, oh, but do I need to post the same thing on Instagram and TikTok? And like, just pick a platform. There's enough free views.
Yeah, I feel that way. Do you feel that way?
I do.
Because you use a lot. I mean, you use at least TikTok. Maybe not Facebook.
So
YouTube,
I
Instagram.
duplicate post from Instagram to Facebook. So there is
That saves a little bit of time.
Yeah, and there's been some that have done way better on Facebook than on Instagram. It's weird. I don't know why. But I started with TikTok, and TikTok was going crazy in like 2020, 2021. And there were like, it was so easy to get free views. And that kind of got me in the rhythm and, reason to start using it and stuff. And once I got established on TikTok, I was like, okay, I can start to repurpose some of this content. And like I'd throw a video up on Instagram or on YouTube Shorts here and there, and they wouldn't do as well. And then Instagram changed their algorithm to be more interest-based and not personality or like personal connection-based or followers-based to follow TikTok. Sorry. Let me unpack that.
Yeah, explain that.
So social media started with Facebook and really MySpace. It was social media. You get fed the information that people are posting that are near to you, that you have connections with. If I friend you, if we both have Facebook accounts and we're friends, I see all your posts. TikTok came along and was like, I think people are lying with how much they're actually interested in their friends. And I think they want to just see interesting stuff. So TikTok said, if your eyeballs give it time, no, they didn't literally say this, but I'm paraphrasing. If your eyeballs give it time, it's worth it to you to watch more of. So they developed their algorithm completely on interest. If you're watching it, if you're giving it a second of your time, and so watch time is the key metric for TikTok. Over likes, over comments, it's watch time. And then Instagram and Facebook started to copy because they were getting slaughtered by TikTok again in 2020, where people were just, it was like the most viewed platform on all of the internet. And it just started a couple years before.
That makes total sense because if you think about what your friends are posting, it's typically pictures, pictures of their kids or whatever. And you might look at it for a second, but you're scrolling as opposed to a funny video.
Yeah.
You might watch that twice or 3 times,
Yeah.
Which totally makes sense that like that's better for their brand. If you've got more time into the app,
Yeah. So this is both a great and challenging thing for businesses because now if you can capture the least bit of interest, you can get views. It doesn't take a lot, but I think the number one thing you got to do is not sell. All business owners, everybody starts their account like this where they, come see our restaurant, come see our show floor,
Yeah.
Hey, we're open 9 to 5. Like nobody cares. If they wanted to know when you were open, they would Google it. Don't share that stuff. You have to interest and then bring them in with your information.
Okay. So here's a question. So like, how do you differentiate what you're talking about versus like the ads that Joe Rogan will say on a podcast, because I feel like there is a structure to every single ad and at the end of the day, everyone's kind of selling something.
Yeah.
So like what you're talking about is generating interest, doing something, that is going to capture attention. But then you see any ad, it follows like a very strict form of like, this is the procedure of what we're trying to communicate. And no, I feel like every brand does that. Like every corporate brand. And I was talking to my brother-in-law, who was like an executive for Walmart for a long time, and he was in charge of marketing, and that was one of the things that he was telling me about when we were on vacation last week. So I feel like that. What are your thoughts on that? Because I want to pull up what I took notes of what he said. There were 3 things.
Yeah,
and I think it's.
Are you talking like specifically a corporate ad read? Because I think
but it's not just that. It's like, hold on. Let me. Okay, so it starts with accepted consumer belief. So it could be a podcast ad, or it could be just a digital graphic. So like, let's say like the ad is for Swiffer, and they've got a picture of, it's just a graphic. They've got a picture of this person with a mop bucket, and it's grayed out. Maybe there's a circle with a red line across it, and they're struggling with the mop.
Yeah, the old school mop.
So that's the accepted consumer belief, which is
mopping. Yeah.
Mopping takes time. It's messy. It's not simple. And then it goes into the second phase is features and benefits. So what? That's because mopping's difficult. That's because this is how mops have been made. This is how everyone's mopped for the last 100 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the last component of that is a reason to believe. So like, talk about the process, a proven track record. So it could be, I mean, listen to the next Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Ad,
the Swiffer has a swivel head and can get under it.
Yeah, and the graphic might be like someone just cleaning very easily, and you're essentially saying the same thing as what you would hear in a podcast in this graphic, but you're following a structure that's worked.
Yeah.
And that's and that in itself, I mean, that could feel very corporate and I'm selling something to someone. I'm not like trying to generate interest, but I feel like it's worked for a lot of these brands, and they just keep doing it,
Yeah. And I would say social media, if you're going to market on social media, it's a similar thought in that like the accepted consumer behavior and then breaking that. Mm-hmm. Like that is just another way to say grabbing interest. Like if you show a picture of a grayed out mop, you're like, oh wait, I do hate mopping. Like you're grabbing their interest with that picture.
But it could even be like, let's say you're making a video and it's like a vlog type video, and let's say I'm doing it for Lenny's. So maybe what I would be trying to communicate is no pizza places in Northwest Indiana are authentic. And whether that's like a vlog or like, let's say it's a digital graphic, I'm showing a picture of, a conveyor belt, a pizza on a conveyor belt, something like, oh yeah, that's how Domino's does it. And then you get into like, let's go back to the vlog thing. Now you're talking about like, you're just communicating the features and benefits. You're saying like, yeah, every pizza place in town uses a conveyor belt oven.
Yeah.
Nothing unique. And they get frozen dough, and then you go into the features and benefits. Here at Lenny's, we use, we make our dough from scratch, and we use, we have a type of dough recipe that's very authentic to New Haven, Connecticut, for an authentic coal-fired pizza. And then I'm just doing this on the fly, but then giving them a reason to believe, I don't know what that would be. I haven't put any thought into that, but like you can follow that model for no matter what your content is, I feel like, and maybe that's something that like we should be thinking about and trying as we produce content.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anything wrong with that form of advertising. The component you're not factoring in is if you want to communicate your business's features, you're going to need to shove it through with money. And that's how Swiffer gets on TV, and that's how these brands get on Rogan. The second, and on social media, especially short form, the second it starts to feel like a feature list or a sales ad, people tune out and swipe really fast. And so,
but I feel like you could communicate that without having that kind of lame corporate sounding structure or sound to the ad. I think for you, it might, I don't know what that would look like, but like keeping that structure in the back of your mind. If maybe it's more for short form or something like that, but I get it, man. I get it. It is different.
The thing is, what's way more powerful than your feature set is your personality. And so people getting to know me and feeling like, oh, Adam's a guy I like and can trust on social media. I never talk about the feature set of the drawings.
Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would skip accepted consumer belief. Like you wouldn't talk about like all home designers are slow, but like you could also show how fast you are, like features and benefits. Like let's crank out a drawing in 10 minutes. Of this.
Yeah, I do that like with live streams.
Right.
I do a live stream, and I'm giving them information through the way. Yeah, so you have to marry these things with interesting things. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like showing your coal fire oven here at Lenny's is interesting. I think people would want to see the process, your chefs or bakers making the pizzas back there. Like that's a cool thing. Yeah. And you show that, and then immediately you're communicating, like they know without knowing, oh, Lenny's is coal fired. That's cool. Mm-hmm. I wonder if anybody else in town is coal fired, and then they find out they're not.
That first part is difficult to do without sounding like a podcast ad.
Yeah.
Like how do you communicate that? Like no restaurants in town are authentic pizza, coal fired pizza places. So, but I think there is something to that is, if it's working for the Walmarts and some of these bigger companies, like keeping that in the back of your mind as you produce content, no matter what your company is or your brand is, because I think what you were saying before is no one wants to see like, come on in, we're open. Maybe on opening day you say that like we're officially open.
Yeah.
But think about what people like want to consume, and it's going to be different for each brand. But you just, what I think is interesting to me when I'm producing content for my restaurants, I have to force myself to view that through the lens of someone that is not me and has no experience in the restaurant industry.
Right.
And you almost have to like view the people that are consuming your content as like monkeys that are just like, ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
Like how do you capture their attention very quickly?
If you're ever in doubt on how short form gets consumed, watch a teenage girl on her phone. It is milliseconds when she decides whether or not she wants to keep watching that.
Sounds like this is personal for you.
Yeah. This is a real thing that happens in my house often. Can you please put headphones on? But yeah, like we are a little bit in caveman brain when we're on social media. One thing back to like the advertising, the corporate advertising point too, is social media is even more top of funnel than this. You're generating the people that are then willing to hear about your accepted consumer behavior and why you're breaking that and why you should trust them, right? So I have business owners that like tell me like, why am I doing social media? All those views are national. I'm a local business. What is it for? And I'm like, I posted a 15-second video that got watched almost 3 million times. Like how in your brain does that not compute to business for you?
Yeah.
People are going to reach out. I think open more doors to stuff you didn't know about too. And then a huge thing too is social media is a free testing ground for what people are actually interested in. Now that we know people watch that video a ton of times, we now know, let's have our salespeople talk about that. Because that seems to be very interesting to people. Like, hey, check this out. This little fridge recess here lets you buy a full depth fridge and push it back like a counter depth fridge. And even the ads that you do in future, you have so much data on what does well and what doesn't do well. So
I think that's why a lot of brands will use vloggers or influencers that have been successful, because they can communicate that what the accepted consumer belief is without it feeling like an ad, like as they're just going about their day, like, oh, this is so annoying, and then they're not promoting something, but maybe they just like grab it and they're using it, and like you see, wait, what was he holding?
Yeah.
And like next thing you know, like you're ordering that, and I typically do not think about this when I'm marketing to my consumers locally. I'm focused on like putting out pictures of or videos of my burgers of the month and our specials and all that. And maybe you'll be more successful as you put more planning into it and actually plan and not just think like, I got to post a picture today.
Yeah.
I think that's when people start getting successful, but that takes time and energy. And if you don't have the budget for like a marketing person, then, do you have the time and energy to put into that on top of like running your restaurant or running your business?
Yeah. I think another thing businesses get wrong is they have a marketing person that doesn't know anything about the business. And that's the person that's in charge of social media. It's like, if you're going to share helpful information about how your business operates, but the marketing person knows the least in your company about how your business operates, it's not a good combo.
Yeah, I hired someone in the past. I think I paid them, this was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. And it was more so like I was in a phase where I did not want to deal with social media.
Yeah.
And I ended up paying this person like $800 a month to post for all of our accounts, which was like at the time probably 4 or 5. And I think she posted like 3 times a week on each. And honestly, I mean, it was like a ton of stock images. I was never like, that's good stuff, you know? Like you can make something, I mean, this was a long time ago, but like now you can make graphics in Canva that look great, very easily. Right. So it's just kind of that thing of like, I feel like a lot of times business owners will hire that out because they don't want to deal with it. And maybe they have another job and they just like own a restaurant but they have other things that they have to worry about and they don't want to deal with it. But it's just an extra expense for something that you don't have to take to the next level if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some planning and some stuff that goes into it, but it can just get so expensive. And if you're trying to manage costs, this is a simple thing that everybody knows how to do.
Yeah.
And maybe if you want to get good at it, you have to put some energy into learning and researching what's effective for your brand and your industry. But I mean, I could never justify hiring someone to do that. It's just so expensive.
I almost always think the best route for a business to go is for the business owner to be the social media poster, or at least the energy behind it. Maybe you're not the poster, but if you are comfortable enough to get your face on a camera, I think that's going to do the best. Because if you're the owner, you probably know the most about your business. And that's the connection people want. Like they want
to know who's the owner.
Yeah.
And is that person, do I relate to that person?
Yeah.
Why? Give me a reason to go there. Even if it's like, that guy seemed like a nice guy. He seemed honest. Let's go check that place out.
Yeah. That does way more than the food looked good.
Right.
That guy seemed like a nice guy, gets you so much business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think people just, people want to know that other people are relatable to them.
Yeah.
Like if no one knows me or my dad, they might think like, oh, John's the mayor and, I can't relate. I can't relate to them. They might not know us because it's a big enough community where you don't know everyone. And if I can put myself out there and just show like I'm a normal person. I have 2 kids. I go to baseball practice. Mm-hmm. I go to church, all that, like all of a sudden you're more relatable. So there's different ways to communicate that, but I think that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
For sure.
What type of content has done the best for you?
Videos for sure. Like I would say it's hard for me not to say the food videos because that's what I do the most of. I've done some like talking head stuff. I did one right before I left town about like
short form, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, short form. And I primarily post on Facebook. Obviously we do YouTube, a little bit of that. And I've experimented with TikTok. I just feel like Facebook, there's so many local groups like Valparaiso restaurant reviews. It feels like you're marketing to the people in your community, which is what I need to do.
Yeah.
And some of the other platforms are more of like a global or national reach sometimes.
Have you done retargeting with your best performing videos on your current followers? Like run an ad with a video?
I've like boosting posts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I've done that. I've done that more of like, okay, I know this is a good video. It's our burger of the month. It's going to be available all month. So I'll put some money behind it. So it's just recirculating for the whole month. But I've never posted a video and saw that it did well and then put money behind it.
Oh, you should try it.
You think it? Have you done that?
Yeah, those are the ones that really go because Instagram or wherever you're posting it is telling you people are watching this. You can see the number.
Yeah.
So they're not, whether it's an ad. If it's an ad, it's gonna get slightly less retention again, just because of human nature. But whether it's an ad or not, people are gonna watch, and then do the retargeting either on the zip code you want to target or your current followers. Like people that follow you want to go to your restaurant, want to be reminded of what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Especially with the videos that do well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's really weird that like a lot. I mean, I think you've tried to do this too, but like finding a model, like a video, just like a something that works. Like, okay, that video got a ton of views. It worked for some reason, and then you try and copy that, and then it falls flat, and you're like, it's the same format.
Yeah,
that's difficult. I don't understand. I don't understand that, but
I think there's little rhyme or reason why it goes like mega viral. I've got videos that have done 20,000 views, and then ones that have done 500,000 views. I'm like, those seem similar to me. I think part of it is a volume game.
And is it timing? Like I posted that at I got lucky. I posted at the right time. A lot of people were on at that time, and it just kind of.
It could be. I think more than you're lucky. More so, in it's not so much when you post it, but do the first few people that watch it are those people that save it or share it, or do you get a good comment on it that then fires people up, and then there's a ton of people also commenting on it, and then that's the reason it goes. But I've got it down to a pretty good formula. Like when I finish a house and a builder, if they take the time to stage it, I'll shoot at it. And I know I can go in there in an hour, come out with 10 to 20 videos that are all 15 to 30 seconds long. And I know I have an idea of like which ones I think are going to do well and not. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. But usually I get at least one that does real views. We'll get into the 50, 100,000 view, and that's worth it for me. And it takes some time to get there. I think the only way you're going to learn that though is by posting, by getting out there and putting a lot of stuff out. Try a ton of stuff until you realize what works. And then now I've got a formula, and I feel like I'm pretty dialed.
And you've got data.
Yeah.
Like how long did people stick around for that video?
Yeah.
That would be the number one thing. Just get stuff out there.
Yeah. The first thing I look at in like the first 6 to 8 hours are the number of saves and shares outpacing the number of likes. And if I've got that, I know I've got a good video, because people are saving it for the future home plan or telling their spouse, significant other, oh, hey, look at this video. We need to think about this for our island. The platforms love that because you're bringing people back to their platform.
That makes sense.
So those videos get served really well. So I focus on that over likes and comments. Comments can help a ton too. If you've got a video that like, again, riles people up in a weird way. Like I posted one about a 48-inch range, and people just got really grumpy about it. Like, no, I don't want to.
So did you delete comments or did you leave them?
No, I left them. They had a lot of comments about how I was dressed. did not think I looks like, why does dude look homeless? He looks like he's in his jammies, which like, I don't, it's like, whatever.
That's hilarious. What were you wearing?
I don't know.
Beanie and
yeah, my normal outfit, business attire.
dude looks homeless.
So, but then, yeah, a lot of people are like, no, don't want to bend over. This has been a trend way longer than you say. I had one in my house 20 years ago. Everybody that comments has that voice in my head, by the way. I don't know why.
But hey, that's good. At the end of the day, like that's keeping people engaged.
Yeah.
That's engagement.
Yeah, and I need to remember with the negative stuff, like it is a little bit hard to not take it personally. It takes me a few hours. Like, oh, that,
Yeah.
you're the idiot. is what I want to respond. But
when there's a lot of comments, it kind of gets like drowned out because you get some positive ones. But like, I posted that video on YouTube of New Haven, how we make our dough and everything, and I had one comment on there, and it was like, "Thanks for telling me you're ripping me off. It only costs you $3 to make a pizza, or whatever, And it's like, well, yeah, but it costs money to put the lights on and hire the staff. It's like, what are you gonna do? And there's just one comment,
Yeah.
like, so I just deleted it. I was like,
yeah, there have been comments I've deleted. Like sometimes it gets political or people are swearing at other people. I'm like, I don't need that. So yeah, I've deleted stuff, but I think more often than not, you don't need to delete.
yeah,
It doesn't. It just only helps you. Or like sometimes I'm filming in people's homes, and they'll say super negative stuff about their finishes. I'm like, I don't want this client's also on Instagram. I don't want them to read all these comments about how you think their kitchen's
yeah.
ugly.
They were nice enough to like let you film in there, and
Yeah, so I'll delete some of that. Yeah, I don't think you need to delete too much.
yeah,
This is another thing I see with a lot of business owners that want to start social media is they try and pack way too much content into a video. They just ramble. I'm like, okay, dude, we're 90 seconds here. No one's going to watch you for 90 seconds.
yeah,
I mean, you can't post some of that, but so I would try this exercise. Like, come up with an idea. Okay, answer the questions your customers are asking. Write down an idea for a video. Okay, now take that idea and split that up into 3 different ideas based on the same topic. Like, how can you break that idea out into 3 different videos? And then do that again. Those 3 videos, make those into 3 more videos. So you have 9 videos here. And I think the point is distill your thoughts down to the most basic thought you can. Like 15 seconds will usually do better than 90 seconds if you can explain it in 15 seconds. Like one thought, if it's extremely connected or beneficial, you can go longer. Some I intentionally go longer because I want to show the whole kitchen or whatever it is, so they end up being 60, 90 seconds or whatever. But if you can distill it down to the most basic level thought of just what are you showing here? What's the question your clients are asking? Or something you do that no one knew about. Like if someone says, oh, that's interesting to you in a meeting, it's worth posting about it. Like other people will find it interesting. I think people get way too cluttered with the ideas in their head. Like just distill it down and record something. Make it quick.
yeah.
Get in and get out.
Yeah, I think having, the YouTubers always talk about having like a hook and a payoff, And I think you might think like, okay, well, how does that like really work for my brand? I'm just marketing to people in my community, But I feel like if you're rewatching a video, that's a sign that someone wants to come check you out. So maybe that data does nothing for you because you're not trying to get monetized. But I think that it's still the same thing. So if it's me making food and then the last shot is like really cool, there's some smoke, I don't know, like the way we're presenting the food looks like really appealing. That would be my payoff, and then maybe someone wants to watch that again, and now they're thinking like we should go there and try that.
Yeah, or you could even use it to test menu items. Let's say you're exploring to which type of pizza to do next round. Like post one with certain ingredients on it, record the exact same video but change the ingredients, post them like a week apart. Like just put the one on the menu that does better numbers. That's what people want.
Yeah.
It's such a cool testing tool. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, I mentioned a few episodes ago about how we did that how we're going to do the Masters menu. Mm-hmm. So we did it last week, and I haven't gone through like the product mix report to see like how much of everything that we sold, but we were busier there last week. We were probably up like, I don't know, 8% of what we normally do. And that could have been like the weather, or, you know, you never really know.
Right.
But I did have probably about like 7 to 10 people that I kind of know reach out to me and say like, hey, that menu thing, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And we went in there and tried it. And the redfish, that one came back up multiple times where it was like, that was really good. But I think it generated enough interest where, you know, my kid's golf instructor at Creekside, she went in there. You know, she's a big golfer. My golf pro at the country club, he went in there and said it was really. So you definitely, we reached a different, not a different demographic, but like people that are like pretty niche on like the golf stuff.
Yeah,
wanted to go experience that.
Yeah,
you know, which was the goal. And you're putting something out there that's like interesting and unique. I've never seen a restaurant do that. So thinking creatively, it's not just like the content and does it look visually appealing. It's thinking creatively in lots of different ways of like how can you generate interest and maybe tap into a different demographic than what you would normally reach.
100%. One thing that I think helps a ton too is think about it like a billboard. The billboard's rule of thumb is 7 words or less. Like that's all the time you have to communicate. I think in social media, think like first 3 seconds. You know, I watch some YouTubers, Colin and Samir, and they just talk about like the culture of you know, influencers and stuff.
Yeah,
and they say a curiosity gap. So whether that's the thumbnail image that pops up in their feed or the first few words you're saying, like a curiosity gap between what the viewer knows and what they want to know. Like, put something in their head that makes them want to keep watching. That the one I mentioned earlier that did all the really good views was just like sneaky floor plan features, where the first words out of my mouth, that was the text on the screen if you're scrolling by. And it's hard not to watch something like that.
Okay, so even with that, what is the accepted consumer belief? That floor plans are boring and they're always the same. You go into someone's house, there's nothing that blows your mind.
Yeah.
A lot of houses feel generic.
Yeah, I think that.
You know what I mean?
And I think your fridge is just going to stick out way too far from the rest of your cabinets. You know, if you buy a regular fridge, it's just going to be way giant and stick out awkwardly in your kitchen.
What I'm saying is I feel like we should pay more attention to that, because I feel like it does translate into like anything you try to produce.
Yeah. Yeah, I think now that you say it, I think I have been doing that, just coming at it from a different angle. But yeah, trying to buck what somebody's thinking. Yeah, I should be thinking about that way more. Read them again. What were they?
The first is accepted consumer belief, then the features and benefits, then reason to believe.
Yeah.
So, so the notes I have under here, you know, like features and benefits, like we have 49 essential vitamins. You know, reason to believe, I have, you know, proven track record. Talk about the process.
Yeah.
Reason to believe and accepted consumer belief are, you know, kind of go hand in hand, but that's just what he said. You know, that's the structure that all those guys follow. And I just, it kind of opened my eyes. Like that's interesting. And it doesn't feel like it applies to me, but I think at the end of the day, it applies to everything that everyone produces, and maybe it looks different.
Yeah.
In different scenarios, but.
So I think in that video, again, it's me standing in front of a fridge recess in a kitchen. The accepted consumer belief is floor plans are just thrown together. There's not much thought into it. The features in short form, I think you have time for one, you know, like get to it quick. And so I don't even really say, I guess I do, that there's a framing bump out with the wall. So that's the feature, but I'm also pointing to it. I think like we said, visuals help a ton. So you're just pointing to the feature, and that took 3 seconds of the video. And then, yeah, the reason to believe, I think, again, because it's built and I'm standing, it's kind of implied. It's built, I'm standing there, I'm talking about it. Like, this is something that really happens in the real world. Like, that's the reason to believe.
Well, and like, here's what other home designers have designed. Like, maybe you're walking through 2 homes and like, this is what they did and this is what I did. I can draw this. These issues can be resolved and fixed.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what you're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not saying those words, but you're like, here's what this home designer did, and here's what I did. You know, and then in other videos, you're communicating how quick you are, and you know, you can pump out drawings fast. You know?
Yeah. What's the type of social post that you thought would do well and didn't, and just like flopped?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've definitely had some. I mainly post the videos. So like my managers will post pictures of just specials or, you know, drink specials for the day or whatever, you know. The kind of the boring month, because we want to put stuff out there every day. But I paid this guy, like, it wasn't that much money. It was like $400 or $500. This was when we opened Brick Street Burrito. And he's since gone on to like work with some big brands, and he's like a really good videographer. So he made that Brick Street. It's almost like a commercial.
Yeah, I remember seeing this.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it a little, yeah.
Yeah, so he made that, and I got to like work with him on it a little bit, but like he's very talented. And I put that out there. I've since put it out again. I put it out there in 2019, like when we first opened, and I was just kind of surprised, like it didn't get the traction at that time that like I thought it would, you know?
Yeah.
If I don't know if it felt too much like a commercial at the time. On the most recent time that I posted it, like 2 months ago, I did one of those AI voiceovers.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
which helped.
Yeah.
I think. But it just maybe it felt too commercial. It wasn't. I don't know. Like maybe I didn't follow that formula of like I wasn't really communicating anything. It was just shots, you know.
Yeah.
That looked very cinematic and well done, you know. But things like that where it's like, okay, this is, you know, there was a lot of time and energy put into this. It looks great. Everything's perfect, you know. And then you put it out there and like a couple hundred people watch it. When you've had videos that you've shot on your iPhone where, you know, 10,000 people watch it.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
It definitely changes how you approach what you're creating and what you're putting out there, because so much time and energy can go into social media, and you don't have to put much time and energy into it all, and it can be, you know, arguably more effective. Mm-hmm. I worked with these guys. They used to come into the Cherville location to eat a lot, and they reached out to me, and they had this Instagram handle called like Your Click app. They were creating this app, but they were just posting videos of food, and they were one of those like few viral food video companies where, not company, but like they were getting millions of views on their reels, and this was back in like 2018 or something like that, where you know. And I got to work with them. I paid them, but like they worked with me to grow the Burger House page. And we got it to the point where my stories were getting like 100,000 views. My posts, a lot of them, some of them were flopping, but like some of them were getting, you know, about the same 50,000, like big views. You know, it was really interesting though, and I feel like that's the algorithm has changed so much since then, because they were telling me things like, all right, on this next video, I want you to put 2 hashtags on the story. I want you to put them in the lower left-hand corner. I want you know, you to put the location in the top right-hand corner. Like it was little things like that.
And like time of day, they were really particular about, right? I remember talking about this. Yeah, back when
they said the most important thing was consistency. So same time at every, you know, if you're going to do it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same exact time, every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it every day, do it every day at the same time. If you're going to do it once a week, do it every Monday, or do it that same day at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and I think now, and they said like hashtags, do hashtags in the comments, in the first comment, not in the description. And they wanted like 27. And it was like very specific.
Yeah. I don't think any of that stuff matters anymore.
That's what I was going to say. None of that. I don't think hashtags matter anymore.
No.
So it was interesting to go through that process and know like that just proved to me like there is an algorithm. It's not. Now I think the algorithm is more just like eyeballs. So it's a little bit less like I figured it out, you know?
Yeah. Just watch time, saves, and shares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the algorithm is more now just like generating interest with the hook and the payoff.
Yeah. I think consistency is overrated too. I see a lot of people talk about this, and I have been so inconsistent with my stuff, and it still works. So I don't know what to say to that other than like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for me. I think what people mean. I think there's two things to consistency that people mean. One is if you are consistent with posting, you're gonna get better. If you post every week for 50 straight weeks or 3 times a week for 2 months, you're gonna get better, and your videos are gonna start to be good, and you're gonna start to see some traction with that. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then I think two is volume. It's a little bit like you said, it's a little bit like compounding interest, where if you have 50 videos up, it's a lot easier for people to find you and watch the next video. You know, you have so many of these branches out in the world now that people can come back and find who you are and what you're doing.
And that video that you're posting is going to come up on the, you know, the homepage and all that. And those other videos that are 3 months old aren't going to do that. But like, those are still going to generate views if your other videos are good.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see what else he's done. And now you just gained like, you know, an extra view in that 1 second just because you pique someone's interest.
Yeah. For me, when I started, I thought renderings of my floor plans and like showing the floor plans, I thought those would do really well. I'm like, I'm a home designer. I'm designing these sick houses. You know, I'm going to post them on TikTok and Instagram. No views. Those are like my worst
you have
posts.
to think about, I mean, like when you're creating this stuff, you can mentally visualize the finished product. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with me. Like when I post certain things, like I think they're gonna be great, and I've got buy-in because I own it and I'm proud of what I've done, you know. But like that's what I've told you. I feel like people seeing like the payoff for you is like seeing a finished product, you know. Yeah. Like seeing something that, you know, was created, you creating something, and then like here I'm standing in it now, you know. And how you do that needs to be very like well thought out, because you have to continue to generate their interest, because you can't, you know, you want to do it quickly. You want to be efficient with the time that you have their eyeballs. Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, that's why I told you in that like shed video or whatever. It's like make the background interesting. Like put some mountains back there or whatever, and be like, be like, oh wow, you know, like just make their eyeballs like pop a little bit more, you know,
because that shed video didn't do well at all. I haven't really tweaked it.
But it looked cool. Like okay, there was color, like you could see the finished product, like see you design it, see a finished product, but like, you know, put people in there or something, you know, do something.
Needed to pop more, yeah.
And I don't know how much work goes into that. I don't know your programs and everything, but
I kind of scrapped it and moved on. I'm just like, I'm just gonna make. Typically, when I'm doing this, I'm like, instead of investing a ton of time into what I'm working on, post it and get the next one better. You know, and that's where I generally put my effort.
But you're probably gonna hit a roadblock at some point.
Yeah.
And then you keep that in the back of your mind. Like you write that down. Like when I'm having writer's block, this is what I'm going to work on.
Yeah, that's a good call.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
Or you're going to feel like what you're doing is getting stale and played out.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to keep those ideas, just keep them rolling, you know?
Yeah. The problem for me with like the payoff of a finished house is it just takes so long. Mm-hmm. You know, the fastest between idea origination and me being able to walk through a house is like 10 months, maybe.
Yeah, but there's probably houses that are done
Yeah, I should work backwards and
you,
like pretend to make.
Yeah,
remake it. Yeah. That would probably be a good video.
And you could do it. You could speed it up, speed yourself, like making the floor plan and just talking in the background, like doing a voiceover.
Yeah,
Here we're doing
right.
this, so they're not just like staring at AutoCAD for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
And then maybe you explain one feature in there, like something unique that like you want someone to see. Like remember, I think it was Megan and Jordan's house. They had like a little pass-through door in their garage to the pantry.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing that's like that would be interesting to show. Mm-hmm. You know, something unique, like one feature and benefit that you hook them with to like stick around to see the finished product.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to like someone that is, you know, starting a business for the first time that's maybe new to like, you know, maybe they're a little bit older and they don't feel as comfortable on social media and all that. But they want to get their name out there and they don't have a ton of money to like, you know, buy billboard space and all that.
Yeah. I'd say pick one platform and post as much on that platform as you can with a bunch of different ideas. And then be short and trim as quick as you can with these posts. And just experiment with a lot of stuff. But don't get distracted with Instagram, then TikTok, and then try and jump on Snapchat. Just pick one, get there until you figure it out. There's a YouTuber, Marquez Brownlee, that says if you want to get known on YouTube, you got to be happy shooting hoops by yourself in the park.
Yeah.
And we've both experienced that of like, you're gonna post a lot of stuff that virtually no one watches, and that's part of the process and that's part of the learning. And it's not a reason to give up. It's a reason to keep pushing.
Yeah. And I think it can work it can be any industry. You might have to change up your approach if you're like a plumber, you know, like maybe.
Dude, there's some plumbers that have insane followings.
Yeah. Like,
I follow a couple guys because I'm in the, but sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say maybe you focus more on entertainment if you're a plumber, you know, or so I guess. Okay, so the ads that I was talking about with the three components, the other alternative to that is emotional marketing. So like beer commercials or like Coca-Cola or whatever. You know, it's all everyone like having a good time and drinking on the beach and all that. You know, so there are those are like the two different forms of marketing. I forgot to mention that earlier. But like if you're a plumber, maybe you're making like funny videos or like a landscaping company. I've seen landscaping companies that like do time lapses of their creations.
Yeah.
Or just like, you know, framers, like, you know, maybe they're bantering back and forth on their job, but like also explaining what they're doing. So because certain industries I feel like are going to naturally be more engaging than others, you know, like more interesting.
Right.
Like if I don't know what you do if you're a lawyer. You're probably not doing much social media. But I don't know.
Well, have you seen who's it? Legal Eagle?
Oh yeah, or Glenn Lerner. Everyone knows.
Yeah, but like he's got a massive YouTube channel, and his stuff is really interesting.
That would be another good point. What you said right there is like find the people in your industry that are successful at what they're doing.
Yeah,
and try and copy or model, not copy, but like model what they're doing.
Yeah. I think there's so much reach out there right now that you could do the exact same videos as somebody else in your industry, and it's fine because, again, what you're selling is your personality. So your personality and your vibe is going to be different than that other person. And so even if you're completely duplicating content, it doesn't really matter because people want to get to know you.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to rip off ideas too much, but if they have a good idea about interest rates, like you can talk the exact same thing about interest rates and give your take and your spin on it. And it's a different video.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are some really good points. I think that's helpful for, I want people watching this that are like going to be opening their own business or have their own business that are struggling with this, or maybe they feel like I'm a little bit older, I'm out of touch. Like there are people that are like my dad's age that know what they're doing with social media. And you don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to I mean, we're not like professionals at this. We're still learning, you know, but like you just have to be able to be comfortable, maybe putting yourself out there a little bit and just learning, just putting some time into it. I just think it's important. It goes back to like our first episode of talking about like you have to be able to wear a lot of hats, you know, and this is something that anyone can do, anyone can learn pretty easily. So it's one thing that can save you a lot of money. So if you're getting into entrepreneurship or small business ownership, I think it is important for you to take time and energy, and it might look different. You might have different thoughts or ideas than what we've brought up today, but I think it could be really helpful to take some of our thoughts and apply it to what you want to do.
Yeah, and if you're a business owner and you're trying this now and stuff's not working, like put your business down in the comments. We'll check out your videos.
Yeah.
Give some feedback and
for sure
thoughts on it. So
great. Cool, man. Until next week.
Peace out.
See ya.